Hello, and welcome. Welcome once again to the Secrets of the High Demand Coach podcast. And here with us today is yet another high demand coach in the one and only Tanya Fox, who is an entrepreneur who has succeeded and failed over the past 26 years. She has owned a variety of businesses, including retail service and franchises. Tanya knows the best way to remember something is to have a good time while learning it. And this is why she brings stories and lots of laughter to each engagement. She loves teaching and speaking about collaboration and business strategy on stage with clients and in her weekly podcast. She helps entrepreneurs find passion, collaborate, and grow profit, and fall in love with their business again. She's also got a brand new book out called How to Collaborate, a small business guide to increase profits, build relationships, and stop doing it all by yourself. Well, Tanya, welcome to the show. I'm glad to have you here. I want to start out of the gate, kind of 101 here. What does collaboration actually look like? What does that mean?
So, you can look up tons of definitions, but the one that I like to say, it's really two people coming together for their own benefit. That's really tearing it all away. A lot of people will give an answer of, you're doing it for the other person. But let's be honest, we all want to grow when we're working with each other. So it's finding somebody else who has a skill that either you need or don't want to do, and finding a way to share those with each other so that you can both grow and hopefully make profit out of it. That's why we're all here. Let's be honest.
I love that. And I love tying it to some of the downstream effects. We'll get to that here in a moment. One of the things that I've found, particularly in the small business world, is there's this temptation toward isolation. And one of the paths to that is, well, it's just faster if I do it myself, right? It's just faster if I might not be the best person in the world at that, but I can get it done and it'll be fine. What would you say to someone who's sitting there thinking, why collaborate when it's quicker to just do it myself?
The truth is, it isn't quicker to do it yourself. We all think it is. But when you take that task, you're not doing something else that is more beneficial to you. So to use something really simple, for example, I absolutely hate filing. I do not like doing it. I don't enjoy it. So I collaborate with other people either on my team who really love doing it and let them have their happiness in it. Because what happens is it kind of causes me to go into a different modality. I'm upset about it. I don't like doing it. I put it off. I procrastinate. So really at the end of the day, it ends up sort of taking you longer to do that task that would be easier if I just did it by myself. But like you were saying, the other real big problem to it is that you cause yourself to spiral into isolation because you just end up feeling like you have the best answers or, it is always all on me. And it's not fun to run a business that way. And you can't get ahead doing that. I've tried it. I've tried it in numerous businesses. It does not work. You cannot get ahead alone. And it's more fun when you have somebody else that you can, kibitz with or go through the good times and the bad times with.
Wow. So as you're looking for folks to kind of bring into the circle, if you will, are there different types of collaborators? Do people approach it different ways? Is there anything that we should be paying attention to from that perspective?
Usually, I say anybody can collaborate with anybody. There's always a way to sort of make it work, even if it's your direct competitor. We see that a lot in Coke and Pepsi. They are rivals, considered rivals in the world, but we see them constantly working together. So there really isn't anybody that you can't work with. But when starting out, the easiest thing to do is to make just a simple list of all of the things you love doing, what rejuvenates you, what kind of sparks you up, and the stuff that you don't really like doing in your business. And then when you're looking for people, find somebody who loves doing one of those things that are on your list that you're like, you know what, I'd rather not touch that. Those are the easiest ones to start off with because hopefully one of your skills on your I love to do this will be on their I don't love to do this side. And I redo that list every year so that if somebody all of a sudden comes around and they're like, oh, I absolutely, love filing, to use my previous example, I'll be like, we need to talk.
So I can hear some folks just kind of asking themselves, like, that's fine. I can understand how in a team environment that would be really effective and, yay for teams. But I work by myself. I'm a solopreneur. How do they collaborate when they're the only employee?
So this can help you, collaboration can really help you the most when you are sort of wearing all of the hats right now. Because when you start out in business, let's be honest, usually we are, right? We're the frontline person, we're the CEO, we're the cashier, we're kind of everything along the way. So really you thinking about how is it that I can, get the word out? We always want to, more people to find us. So that could be as just going to other people who are, in the same type of industry as you and saying, can we work together? Can this be a referral collaboration? Say you're a bookkeeper, go to accountants and say, I have space for new clients. Would you be willing to, refer me? You can do different deals. You can do different discounts. That is kind of the easiest way to get out there without having to sit there and spend tons of money on all of this stuff. I've done it with advertising as well. I've gone to other businesses and said, hey, would you be interested in kind of doing a sale together or combining our products? If you're a consultant or a coach, but maybe you don't deal with social media, find somebody who's a social media coach that you love and say, hey, would you like to team up together to offer a full rounded package? So those are just a few of the ways that you can, kind of offer more than what you actually do by collaborating with other people.
Yeah, I love that. So let's say someone's bought in, they're working with other folks. Doesn't always work well, right? Sometimes there's some hiccups, there's problems that happen, or maybe not even sometimes. There's always hiccups, but what have you found some folks do? Some of the most common ways that folks will either consciously or even unconsciously undermine the effectiveness of their collaboration?
So typically what I find is, again, that personality of I will just take it all on. And not, I always say sit down and do clear defined roles of everybody who's in the collaboration and what they need to do. And then allow them space to do that. We always go, well, I would have had that done yesterday. That's fine to reach out, and that communication is going to be key to go, hey, how is this going? Are you working on this? Do you need some help with this? And understanding that not everybody is going to work just as you do, but having that communication and always asking the question, how is it working for you? How are you liking this? What are you seeing? What are you witnessing as we're going through this so that you can tweak? And it is 100% always okay to go, this isn't working. Let's end this now before we're going. And I still to this day have those where we try something that is outlandish that we're like, oh my God, this is going to be amazing. And a month in, we're like, this is not going how we thought it. And it's okay to, scale back and go, okay, we're going to stop here. We're going to stop now before we dig this hole any deeper. Let's reassess and decide, do we want to do something else or should we move on?
One of the challenges that presents is if you're working by yourself, there is no real perceivable gap between what we think is the right way and our way, right?
Right.
It doesn't mean that it's always the right way, but the gap between what we think is the right way and our way doesn't exist. Well, as soon as you add someone else to that equation, it complicates it significantly because they're inherently going to do a lot of things a different way. And we have to be able to kind of slice between what is the right way, right? It has to meet these criteria to succeed versus what is our way. How do you help folks to distinguish the difference between those two?
So it's really sitting down and having really good conversations before you ever start working together, creating those timelines and then biting your tongue. Because, for example, I like getting everything done way ahead of time. I like to have it done, sitting, ready to go. My husband is a person who loves the 11th hour. Like it's amazing what that man can get done in an hour. But so being in that kind of relationship has allowed me to sort of sit back and go, okay, I have to be okay with letting them figure this out on their own. So if that is something, though, that you don't like, you're like, oh my God, that would give me so much anxiety, then make sure you find somebody who has that similar, I need to get stuff done way before ahead of the due date, and make sure that's the type of person that you're working with so that you don't run into those. Or be honest and say, hey, I'm not an 11th hour person. Like I get really, really anxious about this. Could we keep the communication open just so I know what you're working on? Being honest with that really helps both of you not to sort of come to heads or you be upset and the other person going, I got it done. What's the problem? So I think you really have to sit down and come to terms with what are you willing to accept? And what are you willing to go, okay, I'm going to let them work how they need to work. Because sometimes that's where the beauty of the collaboration is you get to experience the way someone else does stuff. And I found a lot of tricks and just things that I start doing in my business just by observing the different ways that other people work.
Yeah, I love that. So one of the things that really struck me as I was getting ready for this episode was this kind of dual nature of you spend a lot of time helping founders, in particular, rekindle their passion, right? How tie that together with collaboration for us? Because those seem like they're different worlds. Where did those intersect, and how is it that you pull it all together?
I think for me, it was because I was there. I started a business and I was very wide-eyed about it and of course loved it. And, 3 years in, I kind of hit that status where you're like, is this it? Is this the relationship? Like, do I really want to do this forever? And so I was trying to find different ways that I could fall in love and get that initial feeling of the relationship back again, right? The beginning spark, the honeymoon phase. I wanted it back. And so I started diving into doing collaborations to sort of figure out what are my superpowers? Like, what are those things that people really want from me? And so when I started going out and asking people like, hey, I'm really kind of like bored in the business. Like, do you have any ideas of stuff that we could do, or maybe events or promotions that we could do? And working with those other people got them excited to do something new in their business and got me to see what other people were excited about with me, that I was like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot that, because it comes so easy to me. I totally forgot that would be interesting to somebody else. So now I do it all the time. I have people kind of walk through my businesses, and you don't have to have a retail store for that, right? It's just come through, see all the stuff I do, and I pay attention. Where do they get wide-eyed? Where are they like, ooh, I love that idea? And then that's what I latched on to. And then that helps me to kind of go, oh, I'm really excited about this again, right? Because as soon as somebody else gets excited about something you do, it's easy. That spark all of a sudden ignites where you're like, I forgot how fun that was, or I forgot how exciting that was to teach somebody that. I forgot what it's like to have that client or that customer's eyes just light up and the light bulb to go off for them. So collaboration really helps you to kind of start sparking and flicking those light switch back on, which helps you to move forward in your business. Because when you're excited, you want to do more things.
I love that. Tanya, there's a question I like to ask all my guests. I'm going to fire it your way here. What would you say is what is the biggest secret you wish wasn't a secret at all? What's that one thing you wish everybody watching or listening today knew?
I think that for me, I would say that every single person out there is creative. And we all think outside of the box. We hear it all of the time. And a lot of people who come to me say, I'm not creative. It's just not in me. I'm not artistic. I just don't have those things. And the truth is, we are all already doing it. We're just not paying attention to it. So look around your house or your office of where you're at and just look for things that you're using that are not their intended purposes. So do you have a drinking glass that you are putting pens into? That's thinking outside of the box. Are you using a sheet as a curtain? Bring me back to my college days. That's thinking outside of the box. We all think it has to be this, huge monumental thing. And it's all of these little things, just looking around your environment and thinking, what can I use that for, beside its intended purposes? Look how many things a tree is used for. These are all thinking outside of the box. So we can all do it. And the more you practice, the easier it becomes. It's like building a muscle. And you'll start to see it everywhere. All of a sudden, it jumps out at you and you're like, oh, that's different. That's not its intended purposes. And it becomes kind of a little bit of a game that you can see how much stuff, how often you actually do this.
That's awesome. there's some folks listening to this and you've given them hope they haven't had in a while. They want to go deeper on how to collaborate. They want to find that spark again. First, tell us, where can we get a copy of your book? And then also, where can folks find more out about the work that you do?
So you can find my book on Amazon, in Barnes & Nobles, and a lot of the bookstores. So just Google How to Collaborate by Tanya Fox. You can also find it by going to my website, which is foxtalksbusiness.com. And there you can find the book, you can find our podcast, all of the different programs that we have running, tons of free resources on there. And as well, social media, just reach out. If you have a question or you want some ideas, those we always offer for free because they help to ignite and spark us as well.
Fantastic. I love it. Well, Tanya, thanks so much for being here today. Just a privilege and honor having you on the show. And for those of you watching and listening today, you know your time and attention mean the world to us. I hope you got as much out of this conversation as I know I did, and I cannot wait to see you next time. Take care.